Okay, hello. Time for another one of these director commentaries for Bento Banana. This time for episode 3. Truth be told, I actually did try to record this maybe a few weeks ago, and it was just one of those things where it didn't record for some reason. But that's okay. I remember when I noticed it wasn't recording, it was at the same time when I realized, oh man, I have been talking for like 40 minutes and I'm only halfway through this. So maybe that will happen again, but at least I'm prepared for it this time. That time I was like, oh man, I thought it was going to be like the other cartoons that were honestly way shorter. So I've been putting off doing this one for a while, but not out of anxiety like with the other ones. But this time, I think more out of, not apathy. I love this cartoon, but it's probably the least personal of the four. Not to say that I don't love this cartoon, I do. And it does, I think it says a lot, specifically about consumerism and brand identity. But as like a personal statement, I think there's this kind of less of me coming through, which isn't, like better or worse. Just I didn't have this need to be a little auteur about it and talk about it so in depthly. But I think it will be fun too and interesting, and I promised I would. So I'll start breaking it down like I do soon. Let me think if I want to sort of preface this with any backstory about how this came to be. So I remember me and Rocky, this was maybe the most collaborative one we wrote together. He's been at least a little involved in writing all of them. I mean, especially because he improvises a good amount of it. But he's at least usually also a little bit involved in writing it. And this one, I think he was the most involved. And it was also, I think, some of the most we put effort into the writing. Sometimes I write it, I'm just like, this is great, let's just go, this is perfect. This one had, I think, the most revisions, the most changes, and I couldn't tell you why. But specifically, the initial idea and draft for this was, it was not just going to be Mochi Flicks. I just knew I wanted to do an episode that was about generic product placement and like lots of ads, lots of commercials. I remember being young and finding that thing really funny, like in middle school and high school. For example, there's an episode, here's a huge influence on this episode. There is an episode of the show C-Lab 2021, is that what that show is called? Where there's like this fake tie-in movie to C-Lab called Tin Fin, and all of the promotion and product placement is being done by a restaurant called Grizzlebee's. And so the entire cartoon is just rampant ads about this restaurant called Grizzlebee's, just forcing its way into this movie. And that shit cracked me up as a kid. I think many people know that Japan's commercial reputation is just being really, really wacky. And that stuff also really appealed to me. Although, come to think of it, I don't think any of that kind of Japan wacky commercial kind of aesthetic really made its way into this episode. And I would say that was actually maybe one of the biggest inspirations for it. That's neither here nor there. So anyway, that was the initial idea. And then as we were writing it, there just came this point, one of the first things we put on the page was Mochi Flicks, this streaming service. And I remember saying to Rocky, should it just be Mochi Flicks? And I'm saying, yeah, I think it should just be Mochi Flicks. And I was doing a lot of improv at the time, improv and sketch comedy. And a big lesson in those kind of arts, as you might call them, is to kind of like narrow down the game of your scene, to kind of be like, you know, what's funny about this, and be very concentrated about that. And that was the move here. We decided to just be like, you know what, let's just take this one dumb thing and just take it as far as we can. And that's what this cartoon is. And you know, it's debatably the best one. It's great. So I think that's enough preface. Let's start getting through it. Alright, so already this shot is one of the toughest shots in my whole life. I wanted to start the cartoon off with like a really, really cool shot so that people would stick around. Honestly, just kind of keeping it practical like that. This whole background is done two-dimensionally. It gets a little technical. I won't go too deep into it, but it's essentially like a flat image of a circle that I'm spinning to sort of get this effect, and also, you know, moving the digital camera around it a little bit, and then tracking a bunch of dots to those arena seats to keep it sort of looking like it's all stationary. It was crazy. All, you know, those lights up there, like you can kind of see that they have a rotation-y effect, but it's just a bunch of 2D images that I'm warping and moving around to give it the illusion of 3D. It was tough. Oh, and also animating the characters fighting. That was also kind of tough too.
That speed! You're pretty fast, Bento, for someone so slow.
You got this, Bento. Just stop saying all the attack things out loud before you do them. You know.
Try my...
All right, so this Radish character, he is played by a comedian named Asterios Kokonos, who I know through podcasts, namely my friend Kevin and Grant, their podcast, The Thought Cops. They bring on Asterios a lot. I thought it was really funny. And one day on Twitter, when I was looking for a voice actor for Radish Cheetah, Kevin responded, "You want me to reach out to Asterios?" And I said, yes, please do that. And Asterios said, hell yeah, I would love to do voice acting. And we met on Zoom, and he was incredibly, like, you know, thankful. And man, he was really fun to direct. I remember like having him do the same line so many times, and in my head I would think like, God, what am I doing? Like, he already got it. Why am I pushing him? And then it would happen. He would just do it even better, and I'd be like, oh my, I'm so glad I pushed him harder. Yeah, he was really fun. He got the assignment. He had fun with it. Forever thankful that Asterios got to be Radish Cheetah.
Bento, for someone so slow.
You got this, Bento. Just stop saying all the attack things out loud before you do them. You know.
Try my uppercut kick.
Wow, Radishita's so strong, it's such an interesting backstory. He's
The voice of the Cherry announcer is my friend Barry Kramer. You may know from streaming on Twitch, or you may not, but if you don't, check him out. Actually, check out his YouTube channel. Not to say that his Twitch channel isn't also great, but his YouTube videos are fucking amazing. He has some just really, really good analysis videos. They're also really funny about video games. So yeah, if you like funny analysis vids on games, you gotta check him out. But he is a longtime friend of mine, and I don't exactly know how or why. I just knew he would be perfect as this Cherry announcer, and he is. These lines are really fast, and you know, I couldn't do these lines. Like, I would never be able to read these as fast as, and they had to be fast. I'm pretty sure I like pushed him. I recorded him once, and then there's one other line later on that I'll get to that he recorded on his own. But yeah, he nailed it.
Radishita's so strong, it's such an interesting backstory. He's such a great foil to Bento. I sure hope we see more of him down the line.
Give it up. I've seen it.
I don't know if that last line make sense to other people. But, you know, to kind of get some inspiration for this episode, I was looking up tropes for tournament arcs in anime. And one of them was that, oh, I'm just realizing for the first time now that this glow effect overlaps his arm. Huh, oops, okay, well you didn't see that. Anyway, oh, I also didn't color in that mouth. Oh, never noticed that either. Oh, I'm just learning all kind of new stuff today. What was I saying? Right, the tournament arc. It's like a trope, I guess, that sometimes in anime, tournament arcs, some of their function is to sort of test out some characters to see how audiences react to them. And if it's like, oh, this one's really popular, like maybe we'll make him like a main character in the story. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what this trope website said. So he's saying, wow, he sure has an interesting backstory. I hope we see more of him down the line. Just kind of alluding to like, yeah, isn't he great, kids? Like maybe we'll see more of him. Who knows? I don't know.
Give it up. I've seen every move and attack you have. Your skill set is so limited, unlike the selection of anime streaming on Mojiflix.
Mojiflex? Is that what he said? I don't know what that means.
A true fighter's moves don't need to be flashy, just 100% to the max with fighting spirit. But given the many choices of streaming services, Mojiflix is the obvious choice.
Now, I remember in the initial scripts for this scene was even longer, and I remember within the dialogue, this was Rocky's joke, and I really wanted it to work because I thought it was so funny, but it was just kind of killing the flow. But they kept comparing the price of Mojiflix just having one less pizza a month. And it would just come up throughout the cartoon several times. And I don't know, I love that joke. I feel like you hear that all the time, just like, you know, just one less coffee a week is like basically the price of this thing. I remember one draft even had like, that's less than the price of dog food.
Choice.
What's happening right now?
Mojiflix, it's a streaming service providing high-end anime to watch
What's
anytime on
happening?
your phone,
What is
tablet,
that? What's
gaming
happening?
console,
Oh my
Holo
God.
tube,
Your fighter spirit is nothing compared to my sheer power.
You know what? I think even like after the animatic was done and everything, yeah, this was a different shot. I just remembered. I animated this shot, and the initial version was Plumpy just having a whole different attitude. He was just kind of like, he's like, oh man, come on, man, come on. And then I was kind of, after a while, I was like, why did I make that the joke that he's being like aloof? That's not the fun and joke of Plumpy. It's that he's like confused and that he's like scared. And so, I also, later in this cartoon, the physical properties of the ads kind of becomes a thing that I wanted to make sense. So this sort of provides two functions. It makes Plumpy's character, better, and it also establishes that the ads exist in physical space.
Spirit is nothing compared to my sheer power.
Well, your power will never surpass.
Also, little note, another cut thing. Radishita was going to lick the blade, as all anime villains do, but it was just too hard to animate, so I didn't.
Well, your power will never surpass your own resolve. Just like no other streaming service can surpass the affordability of Mojiflix.
I'm very proud of this fight sequence. One little, I guess, reference I'll point out is that this, Bento flipping this way to make himself into a gun was inspired by Fooly Cooly, the way Conti turns his torso around on his legs to become a cannon.
You're gonna hate this one. Oh man, that was a big one, right? Shit.
So I always point out the jokes that Rocky improvised, and this is one of them. He was just while he was reading off. Oh, also, so was yeah, everything at this point was when he was reading off this attack. You know, I think I had written one thing in the script, but when we were recording, I was like, all right, Rocky, just like, I want you to come up with like a laser attack, and I want you to really make it sound like you're just making it up right. In fact, yeah, just make it up right now and don't hide the fact that you're making it up. That's why he's like,
You're gonna hate this one.
and then after he yelled that, he also just improvised this.
Oh man, that was a big one, right, Ishida?
And like a millisecond after in that audio recording, you can just hear me cracking up. But you know, it had to be cut because I'm not diegetically part of the story. So let's see.
Unbelievable, folks. Radishida is down and Bento takes the crown. I haven't seen anything this amazing since first witnessing the picture quality of Mochi Flicks Premium during my free 30-day trial.
Alright, so earlier I alluded to another line that Barry did on his own, and that's this line. And so, let's see if I can explain this. This was really hard to explain the first time that I tried to record this. So after this shot, you know, we go to this sequence with the director looking at the screen and all this stuff. And the very first like cut where, you know, most of this was already actually animated, there was a different order of things. It was, you know, after Bento said this line here,
Affordability of Mochi Flicks.
it then cut the Plumpy saying, where'd it go?
Alright, I don't know what the hell's happening, but this is just insulting. I don't know what the hell Mojiflix is, but I'm never buying
And we went right to this scene. But then I realized, so think about that. You know, this scene came on like a minute or two into the cartoon. Actually, it's already at 2 minutes, so I guess it was, yeah, 1 minute into the cartoon, that scene was playing out, and we hadn't seen this fight yet. And then what was going to happen was after the whole scene with the director, it was then going to zoom back into the fight scene with them just starting this fight. And, you know, pacing wise, that was a good enough reason to change the order of things. But the main reason I wanted to change it was that I wanted there to be this sort of what I would call a Rita Repulsa effect. I wanted to feel like the director was responsible for why Radishida is now stronger and is a more formidable opponent to Bento. It's not like literally that, you know, she just says turn up the ads, but I wanted it to feel that way, like you know, this figure in the darkness is watching them and is now making their obstacles even harder. I really like villains like that, I guess. I guess Power Rangers did me good as a kid. So to make that work, I needed another line of the announcer to cut away to. So I, you know, texted Barry just being like, "Hey dude, I have another line. Can you record this one for me?" And he did it.
First witnessing the picture quality of Mochi Flicks Premium during my free 30-day trial.
And man, he can spit him fast. He is Barry, thank you. You are talented.
Alright, I don't know what the hell's happening, but this is just insulting. I don't know what the hell Mojiflix is, but I'm never buying it.
Oh, now he's insulting our company? Report the status of his brand loyalty.
You know, when I was writing this too, I didn't expect for Mojiflix to become like a big part of the lore, but then I was like, yeah, it's the company. It's the company that's doing this.
The eggplant harbors no love for Mojiflix. I sense a tormented soul, trapped in a fabricated cage, clinging to the embers of the past.
This was really, I really love these characters. They're called the empaths. I think they're finally called that in episode 4. And these lines were recorded by an actor named Carmen. I can't remember her last name, but sorry about that, Carmen. But she was really awesome to work with, and it's a fun story how that came to be, which was just like maybe a year or two before I did this episode, I went to like an improv show, just like an improv jam, really. And a friend of mine named Michael was doing what's called two-prov, just two people, two-prov, with essentially who was Carmen, but I didn't know who she was. And the show was funny, but I also remember like my takeaway being, oh wow, I really like Carmen's voice. Cool. And that was it. And then like, I guess it was like a good enough voice that like years later, and when I created these characters, I thought, oh man, who was that girl from that improv show 2 years ago? And so I messaged Michael saying, hey, there was someone you did improv with years ago. She had a very interesting, soft-spoken voice. And he was like, that's Carmen, and gave me her Instagram information. And I messaged her just saying, hey, will you be in my anime? And then she came to my house, and I recorded her saying a lot of just like crazy cryptic stuff. I had a whole script of stuff that didn't get used. Some of it got used for that promo video I made, and I think I wanted to do like another one, but just never did. But yeah, I just for way too long just had her reading scary cryptic shit as these empaths. I think she really liked it. Unfortunately, she wasn't available to do Bento 4, but she was great in this.
The embers of the past, all were lost without the light of Mochiflix.
Well, there's no more time to debug this. Just override whatever's going on. Send more ads.
Ma'am, if the impressions increase beyond this threshold, it could shatter.
Increase insertion volumes by 200%. That eggplant is about to look the shit out of Mochiflix.
Lara DeFord, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I remember having this attitude coming in for recording this of like, yeah, I know who this character is now, and she's fucking unhinged. And she, this take of her like cracking, like, yeah, I picked the scariest take of hers. Like she did this a few times, and I remember just picking like the craziest one where her voice cracks. Also, Barry is also the voice of this, what did I call him? Just like, I guess, the Crystal Grunt? I'm not sure. But that's Barry again, right here.
Ma'am, if the impressions increase beyond this threshold, it could shatter.
Increase insertion volumes by 200%.
This whole sequence probably was the hardest shot to animate in the entire cartoon. There is so much going on, not just animation-wise, but compositing-wise. Like, I put a glow on her hand, this guy's eyes doing a bunch of shit, his tubes have all this follow-through and water in them, his crystal glows, just all kinds of insane layering and masking. Yeah, like, whenever I frame by frame it, I can see where it's pretty unclean. In fact, oh man, those blue lines on his face are not supposed to be there. But I mean, man, I'm pretty fucking proud of it. This thing took forever to animate.
That eggplant is about to look the shit out of Mochiflix.
I won that fight. I'm the biggest banana in the world.
How can this be? I have the blood of the root vegetable ninja clan coursing through me.
Well, I have 12 months of Mochiflix locked in at just $10.99 a month. Admit it, Radashida. Victory is mine. I'm the winner.
This scene was supposed to go on a lot longer. They were just gonna laugh for like way too long.
What's so funny? $10.99 a month. That means you're not
I forgot, what did I make that billboard say? Mochiflix, more anime than anyone needs. I like that one.
a month. That means you're not even a Mochiflix Gold member.
Membership? The what? I'm so lost.
No one's ever brought up that creature on the left, but I'm quite proud of him. He's just like a freaky little Sonic Pikachu Naruto with a dick on his headband. And no one's ever asked me like, who is he or what's that doing there? I just I needed one more space to fill there. So I made him.
So lost.
I even managed to use discount code Bento Banana before checkout, giving me 20%
Mochiflix is already so affordable.
With a gold membership, you can access to broadcasts, behind-the-scenes shootings, and board videos.
Looks like this might be it, folks. With a gold membership, Radashida can watch videos at 1080p and simulcast. Oh shit!
You know, my friend Gabe, who did sound on all the Bento cartoons, told me that he views this scene as the good like barometer test for when an audience is the right audience for Bento Banana. Depending on how hard they laugh at this shot is a good indication of their tastes. And I agree. I agree.
He has so much more exclusive content than me.
Bento, we gotta get out of here. Everyone's turning in the ass.
It's no use, Plumpy. Without a gold membership, how can I truly say I'm a fan of Eastern narratives?
What the hell are you talking
I wrote that line and I think it's my proudest line. I like it.
Are you talking about? Who cares? You're acting insane.
You're right, Plumpy. I have been foolish. I forgot that Mochiflix's mobile app is so intuitive that I can just upgrade from the user dashboard by clicking Manage Membership.
I remember when so Rocky wrote that line. Not only did he write, like, no, he like, you know, he was standing behind my shoulder as I was writing technically. And when we got to that beat of him being, you know, Rocky just said it. He was just like, I can just, like, you know, go to the user dashboard and click Manage Membership. It cracked me up. And then when I animated it, it just didn't feel as funny. And then I felt like, oh, I think we need to see it. I think we need to see on the side what this looks like. And yeah, I think it helped a lot. Also, there's a ton of Easter eggs in this shot. We can see, and we come on to frame by frame it. Here we go. That first one is a band called Pixel Terror that I used to do visuals for. Some crazy bleep bloopy dubstep stuff. The other one's the Kevin and Grant from the Thought Cops, as per mentioned, the guys who recommended Asterios to me. And there's Alex Crocus down there with his Loud and Smart comic series. If you haven't checked those out, oh man, you're in for a treat. Just some stoner furries talking about real shit. And then Hyenaville, which is my good friend Kaylin, or Jazzlight's older series. Yeah.
Just upgrade from the user dashboard by clicking Manage Membership.
Oh man, fuck you.
So people who know what this is a reference to already like this. You know, I have nothing more to say. Just I did it. This is a JoJo reference, and the people, you know, for the few live screenings that this cartoon's had, I always hear some applause when this shot comes on. That feels like good. You're my people.
A gold membership would only elongate this fight, Radashida. I'm putting an end to this. I'm reaching the limits that surpass all limits. I'm gonna obtain a platinum membership.
Platinum membership? That's just a legend. Even if it did exist, there's no way you could afford it without a discount code.
You treat Mochiflix like it's some kind of power you can control. But Mochiflix is more than that.
You know, man, me and Rocky really spent some time writing and delivering this scene. In fact, I think I re-recorded Rocky specifically for this scene because it's not on him, it's on me. I don't think I directed him super well. I think I was really anxious the first time we did this. And so the next time around, you know, I love directing actors, and I love kind of finding ways to push them into getting the performance that I want. So for that second time around, I wanted to get Rocky hyped up, so I think we did a lot of improv games. We actually sparred each other, like, you know, I kind of like slapped him a little bit to get him pumped, like he feel like he's fighting somebody. And I think it really came through. Like, I remember feeling like, yes, he got it. And this stuff in particular, you know, I think we really played it straight. Like, when we were recording this, you know, we weren't acting like we were making something funny. We were acting like we were making some legitimate, really intense, serious shonen, and it comes through.
It's a life force that breathes with
Yes, Rocky's a god. I just want you to hear the way he says, breathes within me. Like, it's like you can feel that energy breathing within him.
Control. But Mochiflix is more than that. It's a life force that breathes within me.
Yes. Oh, it's so sensual. Anyway, I'll move forward a little bit.
Its value is
He's inputting his credit card information.
So do you remember how earlier I said that there used to be a gag where they were comparing the price of Mochiflix to pizza? The original line after he said, he's inputting his credit card information, was followed by, just how many pizzas is he about to give up? And it was really funny, but the whole thing just, it wasn't flowing. Even though I fucking love that joke, it just wasn't working and had to get cut.
Mochiflix. I can feel you with me right now. All my favorite heroes streaming on you. We're able to overcome obstacles.
Man, this is another shot that when this one worked out, it fucking worked out, because initially, I think in the animatic, it was just like, you know, Bento with a big Mochiflix logo superimposed on him or behind him or whatever. It just kind of like didn't look good or quite read. Like, I was trying to show that like Mochiflix is inside of him, empowering him, and I wasn't sure how to show that. And then suddenly, like, the chakra thing came to me, and I was like, oh shit. And not only, so you might notice it's only 4. I think the traditional chakra is more like 7. And it's because this sequence happens. These are the chakras. And, you know, fitting to end on Hamdoria, the obvious Midoriya parody from my, what's this show called? Oh yeah, Boku wa Hero Academia. Yeah, this sequence, you know, I mean, if you watch that show, you probably already know this whole sequence is inspired by whenever Midoriya uses all for one. Or no, one for all. Yeah. I'm a fake fan.
This foolishness ends, Bento. No service could possibly be better than the gold membership.
With so much exclusive content right at my fingertips, I can't possibly run.
Yeah, that all might be the next most challenging shot. Or sequence of shots.
So, this is the power of the platinum membership. Truly, worth every penny.
Okay, I'll buy it.
Yeah, that's Tournament of Fighting, baby. Originally, Plumpy throws up at the end there, but I decided, smash cut out of there. I'm not sure why I went with the synthwave look at the end of this, other than the fact that I thought it was cool. I think it's a good enough reason. Yeah, I love this cartoon. It's everything I wanted Bento Banana to be. It is fun, it is fast, it is dumb, it is dark. Hang on. Alright, let's see what I wrote this time around. The advent of restoration is the eradication of the fragmented. The transient mother extends her light. This is our digital genesis. Wow, I was high. So, alright, great story about this. When I was recording Barry and he was doing the takes of yelling, "Oh shit!" He said, you know what? I got an idea. Take it or leave it. I'm just gonna do it. And that's, that's what he said. Is what a great deal. And I thought, man, that's funny. It's really funny. It's not the the tone and beat of what I want for this. But then I was like, oh, after credit tag, perfect. So I got to use it.
What a great deal!
So thank you, Barry. And that is Tournament of Fighting. Man. So I remember I released this cartoon not at like a good time for anybody, man. It was in the midst of 2020. The George Floyd protests were going ham. I was going to some of those. And I felt weird about releasing this cartoon. You know, I talked to some friends, and ultimately they were like, you know, people still are looking for like reasons to be entertained and happy and inspired, and you know, I think you should just release it. So I did, and it was fine. It was more than fine. It was like some light for me to get to work on this and share it, and yeah, it was great. Some friends of mine have called this a Marxist piece of media. I don't think I'm literate enough to give you a full rundown of how or why, but you know, I'll take it. I think it certainly points at you know, a distaste I have for consumer brands and identity. You know, as I get older, I just sort of see more and more that like a lot of the things that I thought made me unique, you know, the things that I liked, like, you know, certain games and movies and stuff, you know, I was truly not unique. You know, right now what I'm experiencing is like, as I don't know, an adolescent, I thought that I must be like the only person in the world who loves Shadow the Hedgehog to the extent that I do. I was just like, dude, the world doesn't get it. Shadow is so fucking cool, but, you know, I guess everyone's just asleep. And now it's like, you know, in my corner of Twitter anyway, which is not the world, but seems like millions of people love Shadow the Hedgehog. And I'm like, oh, I guess I was right. But I'm also seeing a part of myself, an embarrassing part of myself, kind of like, but I made him my identity. And if everybody likes Shadow the Hedgehog, then who am I? Oh no! Tale as old as time. So I guess that's part of what this cartoon is about. Anyway, I think that's all I really have to say about it. Like I said, it's not the most personal. It was just really fun. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that was kind of the goal of this. You know, Bento 4 gets really personal and really crazy and weird. And I felt like it was important to have some fun in games and love these characters a bit more before we push them in that direction. So that's where it's at. Alright, so if you're listening to this, that means as of now, you're either a patron or a Kickstarter backer. I might make these public to everyone in the future, but not for a while. So for now, I'll say thank you so much for supporting me and caring about this, especially if you're listening this far in, my god. Bento 4's commentary is next. I'll try and go a little faster, but I can't promise I will, because that one's going to be, you know, the opposite of this, and that one's very personal. That one I'm going to want to spend some time thinking about what it means. But I think the wait will be worth it. I hope. I mean, if you're invested in it, then I think it will be. And we'll see from there. Do I have any Bento 5 updates? Not really, to be honest. I'm feeling a few things out. There are some other projects that I'm trying to get some investment in and see how they go, and I'm working on Bento on the side as I'm just kind of waiting for all that to happen, or not happen, as often is the case. But I'm cool either way. If those things don't work, then Bento 5 is here for all of us. But it's gonna be ambitious, let me tell you. Okay, I hope this was entertaining or insightful or just, you got something out of it. Let me know. And until then, I'll see you then. Okay, take care. Bye.